Good evening and welcome to the Let's Talk Destiny Talk Show. Tonight, I am honored beyond words to have my sister friend of many years here with me tonight, Ms. Patricia, we call her Trisha, James Cope. And as I said, I've known Trisha for many, many years, and she's always inspired me with her voice, whether it was singing or using her voice to express herself, to explain things. Patricia's always been my girl. And so this month, as you know, our theme is purpose-driven freedom that allows you to be who you are. So the free to be me with purpose-driven freedom. And so tonight we're going to just talk for just a few moments about how I'm going to ask Patricia to share some of her journey to this place of personal freedom, where she is just absolutely happy and free to be herself. So welcome to the platform tonight, Patricia, and I'm glad to have you with me. So how are you feeling tonight?
I feel good. I feel good.
That's good. Well, I'm glad you joined me.
Because I always get nervous and I'm not good at talking about myself. Because usually when I'm in your presence, we're cutting up. It's not never serious. So.
All right. Well, we'll keep it short so you won't be so uncomfortable.
Okay.
Okay. First, let me just say this. I think that you are a phenomenal friend. And when I mean that, I think your loyalty and dedication to people says a lot about you and your character. And it's one of the things that I've always loved about you, because we could go for years without speaking or seeing each other. And then when we do see each other, it's like we pick right up where we were. There's nothing uncomfortable about it. And I love that about you. I also know that you are a gifted and anointed singer, and you have a mothering spirit. That's another thing that I love about you is you always find a way to try to encourage people and mother them, like nurture them, nourish them. I remember the time that not too long after my mother died, you all were having a dinner for your mother, and you invited me to come because I didn't have my mother anymore. And I don't know if I could ever, if I lived another 50 years, tell you how much that meant to me. Like, but that's just who you are, that loving, what can I do to help people? And I just want to publicly let you know that I genuinely appreciated that, and I won't ever forget it.
You're welcome. I'm like this, Jamie. When I have friends, as long as I have, you'll never be broke, like that. And, sometimes that gets me into trouble. Yeah. But I mean, it is what it is. God always shows up right on time for me. I can deplete myself and he will completely fill me back up.
Yeah.
But whatever I do, I try to do things from the heart. I've always been like misunderstood because people find me hard to read, and I praise God for that gift. I don't know. I look for the good in everybody. And I prefer people that are rough around the edges because I fall into that same category.
Yeah.
And as more and more as time goes by, I'm finding I'm more like my mother than I realized. My parents were both loving people and they didn't know strangers. I mean, it was nothing for them to take in people, even with all of us. And, it's a lot of us. I can't say we ever lived in the house without someone else coming to stay to for a while. Mm-hmm. It's just what it is. Now I can't say I'm as generous as my parents because I like my privacy.
Right. I understand that. Believe me.
But no, I'm just glad that you said yes. I remember that day, and I remember that we had fun. Yeah. I know it was my mother's 88th birthday that we were celebrating.
Yeah, I remember that, because I thought, wow, this is amazing that she would do that. And then everybody that was there was loving and kind and, made me feel like I was a part of the celebration. And
Mhm.
I just, I won't ever forget that. And I want everybody to know that I appreciate that. I have a couple questions I want to ask you before we go on for the rest of the evening. But I was thinking about, you mentioned your family. Okay, you come from a very large, devout Christian family. In this area, they're kind of like local celebrities.
Mhm.
And I also understand being brought up in a Christian home and things like that. Were there ever times when you felt like um, being in that family, being a member of the James family, like the infamous James family, um, made you have any kind of, did you have any feelings of being restricted or like you couldn't really be who you were because of your family or because of our religious beliefs or anything like that?
No, because I was one of those kids. I used to cry to go to church. I used to want to be there. And then I started seeing things like within the church setting
Yeah.
that no one was explaining, but I knew, I don't know how I knew it. I knew that what I was seeing wasn't for me and it wasn't completely God's word for me. You know what I'm saying? So no, I never felt restricted by church. My mother always, without preaching balance, she always, she let us have freedom. She let us have enough room to make a mistake. You understand what I'm saying? We weren't held captive or hostage in the church. So no, I never felt bound when I was home. I was always free. I was always happiest when I was singing with my family or just singing with the choir. So I was all about church when I was growing up.
And that's awesome because I talked to a lot of young women who grew up in the church, and I hear the total opposite of what you're saying because there was not any room for compromise, or like you mentioned, you were allowed to make mistakes. A lot of us were not allowed to make mistakes.
Mhm.
Um, People kept their foot on your neck and always had high expectations of you because you were raised in the church, forgetting the fact that you're still a human being. So I've had a lot of, especially PKs,
Mhm.
because there's definitely a lot of pressure on us. And a lot of us grew up with the resentment of the church and couldn't wait till we got old enough to, because I know when I left from high school, I said I would never go into church again in my life. Let's see, that's why you should never say what you're not
That's
gonna do. But
that is, and I thank God for that. That's not my story. And then too, even though my father didn't go to church as often as we did because he would have to work, but he provided like a service. He ministered to people, like I said, and my parents didn't know strangers. The stuff we were taught to do in church, my father displayed it
yes,
on the outside, and he wasn't a braggadocious person. He never talked about what he did. If he saw a need and he could help, that's what he did. And then my mother did the same thing. I always had this question for people that are in church 24/7 or more than once a week. I believe the church to be a proving ground where you train disciples to go out, your sheep to go out, and sheep gather sheep. That's what I believe. But if you're always in church and you're at every service, when do you get to win souls for Christ? When do you
say
get to
that.
be doer of the word? You don't. Some of the meanest people I ever met are in church a lot.
Absolutely,
Just
absolutely,
absolutely hateful.
that's right. Because it's like they do, we spend a lot of time in the building,
Mhm.
talking God and talking to each other and regurgitating the gospel message to each other, but we don't take what we've been taught, what we've been reading out into the street in such a way that when people see you, they say, wow, I want to be like that, or wow, I want to learn more about, because people know when you genuinely care about them and when
Mhm.
you're just preaching at them. And so that is extremely important. And I was listening to you talk about your father. And to me, um, that's more ministry than just standing behind the pulpit quoting scriptures, because the whole point is that we are effecting change in people's lives. So that blessed me to hear you say that. Now, each of us has our own unique gifts, and we were created with such unique expressions that nobody can duplicate what we do. They might try to imitate it, but they can't duplicate it. And one of the many gifts that I see in you, Tricia, is the singing. And I know that your family, you come from a family of singers, but I recognize something in you when you sing that's coming from your soul, whether it's a gospel song, R&B song, whatever song it is, it's emanating from your core. And that's why I just watch you sometime on video and I'm laughing and smiling. Of course, you can't see me, but I'm laughing and smiling. And I wanted to ask you tonight, how did you choose to use singing at this season in your life as a way to minister to other people?
It didn't start out that way. My niece, well, you know, I've always sung with my family. When I was able to, you know, travel and go home, wherever they would go, I would go.
Right.
And since, well, it was since before the pandemic, because I suffer from rheumatoid arthritis, and it was beginning to get worse, meaning so that 3-hour ride that I would take that would mean nothing, it was getting more and more difficult for me to do that.
Right.
So of course I didn't tell my family that because I didn't want anybody to worry about me. But like in 2015, towards the end of 2015, my niece, my great niece, Patricia, told me about this Mule app. And during the time I was actually, I was being depressed because they put me on this injectable medication because all the medications that I had taken over the years, they weren't working anymore. And I don't know how much you know about rheumatoid arthritis, but I have the crippling kind. And just being off, I had an episode where I was throwing up like every day for 6 months. I lost 30 pounds and I found the last one of them and then some. But I lost a lot of weight because I couldn't keep food down.
Yeah.
I don't know if the medication did something to my digestive system, but I can't take many oral pills today as a result of that. And not being able to take medicine, you know, the disease kicked back up again.
Yeah.
And so I became depressed because it was hard for me to get around. And you know, I have steps in my house.
Oh, wow.
So not like I could just like, if I'm tired, just get up and just go, I'm gonna run up the stairs and just go to bed. No, I have to do stuff like one at a time. And to be honest with you, I was tired of hurting.
Yeah.
Time I was diagnosed at 24 while I was in the military. You're talking about somebody that was able-bodied, athletic. I could do whatever I wanted. So I had to think about how I was going to maneuver from point to point without falling, without causing more pain. I remember one time, I just believed if I could get in the bathtub, I would get some relief because everything was on fire. And I was actually on, I think the doctor had prescribed like Percocet. After 3 days, stuff don't have an effect on me for some reason. It just doesn't.
Wow.
Like you're doing all this stuff. I was like, wow, I was like this and still in pain. So I got in the bathtub and I wasn't able to get out. I was in the tub for so long. It went from hot to cold. I was like shivering. You know how your skin wrinkles up?
Yeah.
So that was an episode that happened.
Wow.
Anyway, back to what I was telling you. My niece Patricia told me about Smule, and I just started singing, and I was singing anything. I was just singing every day. Yeah. And the heaviness that I was under, it began to lift. And then I started singing with other people. And I just like to sing with people that like to sing. Not even saying that I'm the best singer in the world. It's just something I love to do. And then I created, my fantasy has always been to be able to sing in a mass choir. Hasn't materialized yet, but I formed a virtual choir. And like once a month we do songs, and like every quarter we'll do a birthday song for the members that are in the group. So singing just does that for me. If I'm in, say for instance, I'm having a flare, to take my mind off of what I'm going through, because it can make you, I mean, this pain is so intense, it can make you want to end it all.
Absolutely.
So I'm not killing myself for nobody. I'm just gonna be straight up.
Yeah.
Or it will make you try to find every pill you got looking for relief. You know, you could accidentally do something.
That's right.
Then when the medicine wasn't working, I just opened up my mouth and I started singing. Then I started recording when I was singing it and what I was singing. I have over 10,000 recordings on that Smil app.
Wow.
And I have people all over the world. It's just something that I like to do. I don't know what you hear when you hear me. Like you said, you feel like I'm singing from my soul. To me, when I sing, maybe that's God's way of keeping me humble. It always sounds to me like I'm congested or I have a cold or something about it doesn't sound right. And just when I don't want to do it, that's when it blesses the most people.
That's right.
I mean,
And I think that is one of the ways he keeps us humble, because if we start getting to the point where we just think we all that or whatever, sometimes we lose the focus and the purpose of why we're doing it. And I tell you, it never fails. Whenever I'm feeling down, it's like you said, when you're dealing with chronic illness and constantly in pain, like there's never a day that I'm not hurting somewhere. And then I scroll through and I see you singing and I stop and I listen, and it never fails that it uplifts me. And it's not just because you're my friend, but I really believe that even when you're in pain singing, that you're doing it from your soul and from your heart. And it blesses so many people. And I pray you never stop doing it. As long as you can do it, I pray you continue to do it. Because I believe that's a part of your purpose. Huh?
You should join Smule and come sing with me.
Okay, how about okay, hold on a second, get myself together. You said that to me some months ago, and I will talk about it. Because I honestly, let me just say this. I'm not making excuses. I'm just telling you, look at your face. I'm just telling you the truth. When I had that second operation where my whatever it was, my jugular vein was nicked, and I had a drain thing hanging out my neck for weeks, whatever. And they told me, the doctor told me that I probably would never be able to speak again above a whisper, and that I definitely would not be able to sing again. And so sometimes I'm amazed at like how loud I speak now, because for like a year you could hardly hear me after that surgery. But I sing around here when there's nobody here. But I don't think, oh my God, we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
That is too funny. I was hoping you wouldn't mention that.
People to do anything, but won't you come sing with me? That's all I've been asking.
That is too cute. Okay, so let me ask you this question also. I believe that your purpose is, your assignment here on earth is to encourage and uplift people and to show people by example how to push through when it's uncomfortable, whether it's your issue or a family member or somebody you love. No matter what's going on, you always manage to be able to come back with a word of encouragement and something to uplift people. That's what I believe your purpose is. What do you believe your purpose is?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what I wrote down.
All righty then.
I said my purpose is to encourage, uplift, and inspire.
Get out of here.
Look, I don't know if you can say this.
We're on the same page.
I wrote it.
We're on the same.
That's, you know what? I want to motivate people to be their best self. And if I would call it ministry, has always been one-on-one.
Yeah.
And it's been, God will set up a situation where he lets that happen. And I've talked to people all over the world. So one-on-one. Yeah. It's always been like that. Even when I wasn't thinking about church, I wasn't thinking about the Lord, I was just thinking about myself. I know that gifts and calls are without repentance.
Yes.
And even when I was in a sinful state, I could still encourage, uplift, and inspire people.
Wow.
And
Because that's a part of your purpose. Yes.
and this is funny. Take these glasses off because I put them on to read something because I can't see nothing I wrote down there. This is so funny. Back in the 80s, when I was in the military, I was a part of an R&B band, and we came in second place at the it was like the European Army competition that soldiers from all over Europe would get together and sing. My band came in second place. But the next year, I'd been practicing with them, but I had to go to leadership school. And when I got back, they had a new guy in the band, a guy that would not sing with us before because he didn't think we were, I don't know what he thought, but he wouldn't sing with us. And I was booted out the band.
What?
And I was booted out the band and I didn't understand why. You know what? God can put you on a stage and it might not go the way you think it may go. Whatever I was there for the moment I was there for, I'd already accomplished. And sometimes we tend to hold on to stuff because it's comfortable for us, it's known to us, and God wants us to move forward to the next level. And sometimes if you don't go willingly, he will make that up. And that's what happened. I mean, I look at everything as like a lesson.
Yeah.
That I use something that might have been uncomfortable or something that I perceived to be unfair. And it's a lesson and it'll still help somebody else.
Absolutely. And that is so important because, as we talk about, and, we're just going to talk for a couple more minutes, but when we talk about freedom and we talk about being free to be who you were created to be and be free to be happy, it all comes down to sometimes moving beyond what's comfortable, because sometimes we get stuck somewhere. We're like, oh yeah, this is good, this is okay, I'll settle for this. But it's like you say, sometimes, got to put a little bit of fire up on you, make things uncomfortable for you so that you say, wait a minute, I got to do something else. And then as you keep moving and moving, you find out, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be right now. And I think that's important because sometimes we're doing something, and I think that's an important thing that you mentioned about the Army band, because it was something you loved and it's something that you were very good at. So of course you wanted to keep doing it. But then something else came up. And it's like God is always orchestrating things in our lives. And sometimes we have no idea, like, what in the world are you doing to me? Sometimes you just say, oh Lord, why? Why is this happening? But then you always, like you said, there's a lesson to be learned and there's a new level of elevation for you to achieve. And so I just feel like at this point in my journey, I may not be doing some of the things that I thought I would be doing at this age, because circumstances happen, life happens or whatever. But I believe that God is pleased with me, with my relationship with him, and with regard to trying to help people on whatever level I can. How do you feel about this place on your journey?
I really do believe that I'm like at a standstill. I am separated, set apart. I'm to myself. And everyone that I encounter, whether it be in reality or virtually, is either to be a blessing to me or a lesson that I'm to take to my next level. And I'm at peace with that.
Yes.
When I said
that peace is phenomenal. Yes.
Life. I'm sorry I didn't hear the last part.
There's nothing like having peace. I tell you.
I have it in abundance.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Trisha, I am so glad that you took these moments to speak with me tonight. And we have got to, when everything kind of gets situated, we've got to get together. It's been a long time since I've seen you. And like you said, we're so used to, when we see each other, we're always acting up. So this was a challenge for me tonight.
Well, I'm supposed to come to the Eastern Shore next month.
Wow.
I purpose to come home for a few days because I'm some family members I ain't seen in over 2 years.
Wow.
You know, they go, I didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But if everything is fine, I'll be that way across the bridge. The 6th, 7th, and 8th
Okay.
of August.
I
Normally,
definitely.
normally, you know, if things were normal, I would be going on a cruise in August.
Right. That's right.
I would get on the boat.
Yeah. I look at every year when you all talk about that cruise, I'll be like, oh my God, I have never been on a cruise in my life.
Well, I think it's something you would enjoy. So just put it on your calendar, August 4th through the 20th, 2022.
Yes, ma'am.
Lord willing, and everything works out fine. My family plans to go, well, even if they don't, I'm going to Bermuda for 6 days.
Oh, listen at you, Missy.
And I'm inviting you to be a part of that.
That's wonderful. All right, I'll have myself together by then, the Lord willing. What the old people say, the Lord willing and the creek gonna rise.
Get
Oh, get my passport. Okay.
on it now.
Yes, mother, I will. But,
Somebody's mom. But anyway.
but again, I just really appreciate this time. And I love the freedom.
Ever go live on YouTube, I want you to be one of my guests.
I would be honored to do that. Absolutely. Yeah, just like you did it for me. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to.
Okay.
All right. Well, it was a blessing to see your smiling face.
Got on TV. You know, already that crazy man.
Exactly. Now you over. Now it's over. You don't have to wonder what she gonna ask me, what she gonna say.
I wrote down everything you said and like I prepared responses. And it's funny because I can't see them without the glasses on. And when I turn to look at you, it's like a glare. It's like, so
yeah,
it just flowed like it was supposed to.
Absolutely. I told you we got this.
Yeah.
All right, ladies, I'm gonna let you go.
If I ever decide to go for my next grade, maybe they can have you as one of the interviewers, and we'll have people in there on the panel laughing. But I don't know.
Yeah, I'd love that. I would love that. Because people are always saying to me, you know what, you should do stand up, or like some people in this area have some comedy nights or something, and they're like, oh my God, you should come. And I'm like, for what? Like, because when I say things, I'm not thinking it's funny. So when people respond, they laugh, I'm like, all right then.
I get blessed by not saying anything at all. It's the way I look at people.
I can believe that. I can believe that. Because you got some looks there, Trisha. But
yes.
Anyway.
Inherited trait. Got it from my dad.
That's so cute. All right, girl. I will talk to you soon. And I am so happy to have you on my little talk show. One day it's gonna blow up. And I can say, well.
And as soon as you post it, if you post this to YouTube, I will share it.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna post it. Definitely.
So
all right. Well, we'll talk soon.
All right, love you.
I love you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye, baby.